Teacher Rose here one more time. In this video, I am going to go over all of this week's content, which has been agreement. I have been talking about agreement and how you can express that in English. Now, when I talk about agreement, I refer to when you share somebody else's opinion, but also somebody else's position, somebody else's likes or dislikes, or you simply happen to share whatever that person is saying or expressing. For example, there are two common expressions we use to agree or disagree with somebody else, and that is simply I agree or I disagree. I'm sure you've probably heard those because they are very common in English, and they are simple to use because you can answer with that. And it doesn't matter grammatically what they're saying. You don't have to use an auxiliary or anything. You don't have to match anything. You just say, I agree with you or I disagree with you. Two things important to remember with those expressions. One is, after you agree, you always use the preposition with. I agree with you. I agree with this idea. Or I disagree with. Some people say, I agree to this. Well, you agree to something. But anyway, I agree with, that's what you say. And also something else important to remember is that you don't use be before agree, okay? This is a common mistake for Spanish speakers because in Spanish we say, estoy de acuerdo contigo. In that case, we are using estoy de acuerdo. So it makes sense for a Spanish speaker to start a sentence by saying, I am agree. But that is a mistake. There is no am in there, no be. You just say, I agree. That's it. With agree, you are already saying estoy de acuerdo. So I am agree is extra, it's incorrect. So you agree or you don't agree, or you disagree, which is the same. Okay, and those expressions are used to talk about opinions. When you share what somebody else thinks, you say you agree or you disagree with that idea, that opinion. Okay, but what I have been talking about this week is how to express agreement with so, to, or either, neither. We use so, to agree to affirmative statements, okay, or positive statements, but I like to go with affirmative because when I say positive, I don't mean something that is uplifting or pretty. It's just an affirmative statement. Okay, so an example of an affirmative statement would be, I like pizza. And if I say that and my friend listens to me and my friend also happens to like pizza, then she agrees with me and she could express that by saying, I like pizza too. Or, so do I. Or, I do too. Okay? Those are just word orders you can use to express that agreement. And the only thing you have to remember to do this is to identify the auxiliary verb that is appropriate in that sentence. The auxiliary verb is the verb that we normally use to make a negative statement or a question. And that is a little tricky because in most affirmative statements, with most verbs, you don't use that auxiliary in an affirmative statement. You only use it with the negative statement or question, okay? But that auxiliary verb is very popular. It's the verb do, okay? I like pizza. If I were to turn that into a negative statement, I use the auxiliary do and then I add my negation, not. So my negative statement is I do not like pizza, and that there's my auxiliary there. So if you don't know what the auxiliary is in an affirmative statement, try to make the question or the negative statement. Turn that sentence into a negative statement and see what auxiliary comes up or comes to mind, okay? So in that case, the auxiliary is to. That's why, to agree, the other person might say, I do too, so do I, okay? Now, we also have negative statements, and you can agree to a negative statement too, but in that case you don't use so or to because we are talking about affirmative negative statements, and in that case you use either or neither, okay? How do you do that? What is the difference between either and neither? Well, it's very simple. Once you figure it out, I am sure you won't forget about it, because that's how it worked for me when I learned it. Neither is the sum of not plus either. Not plus either equals neither. What does this mean? That when you have a sentence that includes not in any way, in any part of that sentence, after that, you do not use not again. So, not either. If you have not, then you add either. If you don't have not, you use neither. You with me? Let me give you an example. Negative statement. Somebody says, I don't want to be here. That's a negative statement. If I hear that and I also don't want to be here, I agree, and I might say it by saying, I don't either. Okay? Because inside don't, I already have a negation. I already have not. I don't. There's my not. So I say either. I don't either. Okay? If I say I don't neither, I am negating 2 times. And that is incorrect grammatically. Okay? If I were to use neither, I say neither do I. You hear the difference? Neither do I. After neither, there is no not, because it is already included in the word neither. So the auxiliary is in its base form and its affirmative form. Neither do I. Okay? So I don't either, neither do I. Or you can repeat the sentence and just add either at the end. I don't want to be here either. Okay? Which is similar to the affirmative statement example. I like pizza too. You repeat the whole sentence and then add to. Or in this case, you repeat the whole sentence and then add either. Okay? About pronunciation. Many people say either, neither, but other people say either, neither. This is just a matter of where you come from. Okay? People in different parts of the world where they speak English. In the UK, I think they say either, neither. And in the USA, most people say either, neither. But there is no specific rule, okay? They are both correct. You can say it however you want. For us, Spanish speakers learning English, it doesn't make a difference because we are not growing up with this language and we might see it depending on who we are talking to in different ways. So you can say it however you want to. Either, neither, either, neither. It is exactly the same. They are both correct ways to say it, okay? So if you hear someone saying it in a particular way, don't think that somebody is right and the other person is wrong, okay? Both pronunciations are perfectly correct. Either, neither, either, neither. Okay? Now, this is all just to agree, but what happens when you disagree? Now, I don't have any fixed expressions like this to disagree with someone. They are just random, well, not random, expressions you use to disagree. Okay? And these are examples, but you can disagree however you want. With simply, I disagree. Okay? I respectfully disagree. Normally, when you have a disagreement, it could be tense. There could be a little aggressiveness in the conversation, depending on the topic, depending on the person saying something that you don't like or that you feel is wrong. That's perfectly fine. Here we are exploring the way to express ourselves, and that should always be polite. Okay, so adding words like this respectfully, they add to that politeness and they help keep the conversation casual, right? And relaxed. So there's another very popular one, which is let's agree to disagree. It's basically saying, I disagree with you, but let's be friends. Let's carry on with our conversation. No problem. Let's just agree to disagree. I think differently, but it's fine. I respectfully disagree is another way. Or there's always an apology before you say whatever you're going to say. I'm sorry, but I think you're wrong. I'm sorry, but I don't share your opinion or your point of view. I'm sorry, but I view things differently, okay? I'm sorry, but I think otherwise. All of these are ways to say you don't like what somebody else is saying. And hopefully what comes after that is a healthy discussion that makes everyone grow and learn something new maybe. Okay? Let's always be polite. And that's it for today.